CrossFit Games breakdown, event number 4. This workout is called Albany Grip Trip. It is 5 rounds for time, 300 meter run, 12 deadlifts at 350 pounds for the males, 220 for the ladies. I believe it's 165 and 100 kilos for the male and female, and then a 100-foot handstand walk, which converts to 30 meters. This is the first workout on day 2, so we are going to see all the effects of how well our participants can recover from day 1 with all of that running on day 1. You know, we had 10 kilometers, we had all the jumping, bounding repetitions or exercises after that as well. Some mildly heavy cleans in the evening, so now we've got to recover and get ready for this one. We have been inverted already as well with the wall walk, so now we have the handstand walk, so now we see 2 different types of inversion. Wall walks generally transition to good good handstand walking, not necessarily to handstand push-ups, but definitely those two, due to elbow, shoulder positioning, wrist mechanics, the ability to lock wrist, elbow, shoulder into one strong and stable joint position, versus if you aren't somebody who has that great mechanics or terminal elbow extension, you're kind of more out here and taking more muscle load and fatigue through that area rather than through just joint stacking, taking the load. So you're going to start the day off with another 1,500 meters running, 60 heavy deadlifts, and 500 foot of handstand walking, which sounds like so much, which is so much. It's 150 meters of handstand walking. This is a very dense workout, and it is a very aggressive to start the day on day 2. My first worry is that, and I say worry, are we loading the barbell too heavy for too many reps of this workout for the safety of our athletes when in consideration for competition? Yes, it's the CrossFit Games. Yes, shut the fuck up. It's don't be a pussy. You know, let's test where these athletes are at mentally and blah 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, man, when you get cold online for movement practices, for your ability to move, we can't imagine that these last set of 12 deadlifts are going to be looking good for some of these athletes. You know, rounded back, they're in a race, they're not really caring, or they do care, but there's a little bit of disregard of how it looks when I'm moving because I'm trying to get my best time. I'm in a race here with accumulated fatigue, not just from this specific workout, but from the previous day. Yeah, I just worry for the safety of some of the athletes. Like, if that was the idea or the intention of the test, can you get that test some other way? You know, can you replace that deadlift with a different movement, or can you put it at a different time of day on a different day? That makes more sense, more recoverability. But the last thing I don't want to hurt an athlete just to see how well they can. You know, I'm testing for the fittest. I'm not testing for who can be the last man standing, which is that is a factor in this as well. And so just maybe I'm saying the wrong things here. Anyway, 60 is a lot. 60 is a lot, especially at the kind of 70% marker. Let's go through some of the time domains of which it will take these athletes to do the movements. The run for 300 meters, 60 to 70 seconds. I don't think it's going to be far-fetched throughout. So you got 5 minutes of running immediately up to 5 minutes 50. Some of those faster ones, definitely males coming off that first round are going to be sub 1 minute. Should they? Don't know. But that is going to be in play. So that is really where like the most of the time of the workout is spent on a singular movement at that. It will be the running. So that is a running style workout, but how well you can hinge needs to be a factor as well. The deadlifts are not just doing that weight, but being able to do repeated reps and maintaining your runs thereafter. Unbroken for 12 reps of that 160, it will be something like 20 seconds. But I don't know if anyone's going to go unbroken on the men's side. At least you might be able to, but is that the right decision? Won't be uncommon to see 6 and 6, a 7 and 5, 3 4s. Even maybe there's someone that does 12 singles, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. The only thing I don't like about it is no preloaded tension for bracing. The immediate pull at that heavy weight might just round the back from the start every single rep until you can at least fight into a brace position. But it'll be a bout workout. It'll be a Velcro bout, you know, whip on, whip off as you run around the track and come back. And yeah, I do think that we'll see more of the female side go unbroken on their deadlifts, as I think it is a lesser percentage of weight used for the females than it is for the males comparatively. Then the handstand walk. So whoever has good shoulder endurance, and we'll be able to see that from the previous day's wall walk workout, although it might not be enough reps to quite get that glimpse of who is their best upside down right now, but we'll see glimpses of that to understand who can kind of be in what position in the handstand walk with recoverability. I think that the worst handstand walker first round to last round will be significant difference, but the best handstand walkers will have a pretty consistent pace per round, which means effectively they could run slower or do more breaks on the deadlifts or whatnot. Because I look at it like currency. You got currency. I've been given $100 to spend on the value of the movements in this workout, and they are running, they are handstand walking, they are deadlifts, and they're all of equal volume or proportionate to the degree of difficulty as the other. Where am I going to spend my currency? And because I'm really good at handstand walking, I'm not, but I'm really good at handstand walking, I am able to now purchase my handstand walk for a discount versus the value of these other things, because I'm better at that than I am at those. I'm going to look at putting less money towards that and propping up the other ones, because I know that I can pull that or reserve that, right? Where people will often overuse their energy or their currency on the things that they're good at to get to the other things with more time to do those things, but the time isn't really the factor here. It's the value of it. How difficult is it? I don't want to make the thing that I'm already struggling with harder. So I want to get there with the ability to be able to get through it rather than just with a bunch of time, because I can just use that time on resting or failing the rep anyway. So yeah, I think that the run is most important, and then the handstand walk, or the recoverability of being able to do that. Even stronger athletes versus other athletes on that deadlift, it's going to be pretty negligible for the workout. The only thing, well, at least in the working time domains of doing those reps, what we won't be able to calculate or cite so much for real tangible data will be the punishment or the degradation of their bodies after the deadlift from round to round to round. Like, you could just say, yeah, this round was 20 seconds slower than the last, 15 seconds slower than the last, 30, 40, 50, whatever. But how did that happen? Why was that slower? Was it because you've just done general run, or was it the deadlift that was most impactful? So that deadlift, we won't see the value of difficulty of the deadlift during the deadlift so much than we will see in the degradation of the athlete throughout the workout because of the deadlift. Whereas we can see the run slow down visibly. We can see, or we'll see it slow down more so than the deadlift speed of reps and the handstand walk as well. The CNS impact, so your central nervous system impact, elevated repeated hinge pattern. Under fatigue, your challenges your spinal stability, your ability to hold that trunk tension throughout, and have some fatigue transfer from deadlift to handstand walking. That is a traditional pattern for a CrossFit pattern, a combination, you know, deadlift, handstand walking. We've seen CrossFit Open workout, Diane 21, 15, 9 deadlifts, handstand push-ups into heavier deadlifts, handstand walking. Unless you've done a fair bit of training and deciphering and figuring it out, there is quite a considerable amount of back damage that is taken in the handstand walk when paired with the deadlift. Even without the deadlift, if you're somebody whose mechanics in the handstand walk isn't quite vertical spine, you have that slight little lumbar arch in the bottom, the curvature there, then puts the bum into a certain position that all the bottom half of your body, which is now above your head, is taken on compressing that mid portion to lower back lower part of your back, so the kind of lumbar thoracic junction versus also the lumbar spine, because all the weight's loaded there, where if you can then get that spine into this nice neutral position, that loading from the top half of the body goes all the way down through the hand position through the floor, so it just stacks like this, nice and good. But as soon as that vertebrae goes like this into that little bit of lumbar extension or overextension, and then that bottom half of your body's weight is going to be quite impactful on that lower back. So when paired with the deadlift, it's only going to make that exponential, right? We're already stressed on the lower back, or the whole back, or posterior chain at that. So one, it's hard to actually maintain that position. Two, my muscles are screaming of the fatigue. And then furthermore, in CrossFit, just over the years, we've come to understand that so many people struggle with the combination of running and deadlifts, or running and hinging. And you're taking that bilateral hinge pattern, which already might be out of sag, and doing kind of biasing one side 60% of the work than the other. We don't know, but that's quite common. And then you're going unilateral compression with the run. It just, some people, it tends to flare up. So now you have three components of that. And it might, the funny part of it, which is not that funny, but you might see that in the handstand walk. Someone come down and then immediately put their hand on their back. And yes, it was damage, probably most likely from the hinge due to run combo, or hinge handstand or inversion combo, but it might be seen or felt in the handstand walk more so than the others. If you have a good brace midline and like the ability, like if your shoulder extension or flexion is a good position, and you can stack with good elbow extension into the handstand walk, then you can typically be a little bit more loose in the legs and they can kind of fold over. But if you have that lower lumbar arch and you lean over kind of scorpion legs, it can hurt even more. But for a workout where you're already going to be compressed for bracing or breathing, so big brace tension, belt strapped up for the deadlifts, right? When you brace, what are you told to do? You're told to hold your breath, big breath in. So now I'm not breathing during those reps. Now when I go inverted, it's also hard to get oxygen uptake because I'm upside down. And we don't naturally breathe that way up. And you still have midline tension and bracing. You kind of going to want to be a little bit more floppy in your handstand walk, just because I'm struggling to breathe from holding my breath for all those heavy deadlifts, right? And I just think physiologically that the workout it's just really damaging on the central nervous system. You're going to be fighting for that, and blood flow and oxygen to muscles the whole workout. That is not to say that I don't like the workout. I like the workout. That might actually sound contrary to what I said at the start, but I like that we're testing them like this. I like that, hey, let's see what our best can do. I hope that there is reference and understanding from like the general viewer of the degree of difficulty, because it is freaking hard, man. It's not just hard for someone who can't even handstand walk or deadlift 165 for one rep. It's 160, 350 pounds. It's harder for the ones that are doing it and have to do it at a faster pace. I've got a round by round strategy. My first round is just setting a baseline and conservative pacing. I'm definitely trying to stay conservative in this one and not get caught up in a race against people that takes me away from my plan, because I can, again, like pretty much every workout, you cannot win this workout in the first round, but you can lose this workout in the first round. I'm also going to want to see how that deadlift and handstand walk combination feel in round one. You get to warm up in the back, but it's just not the same tools that you're going to be using 4 rounds in a row after the fact that you've already tested in that first round. So that's what I'm kind of looking out for. How do I feel on that first round? How does that deadlift feel when I get back to the second round? Then I've kind of got enough, and probably initiating my second handstand walk, I've got enough data on how I want to navigate that last 3 rounds, so I don't want to ruin that. The key rounds are from round 3, just kind of talk to myself, this is the halfway marker. Get through the next round, which is round 4. This is the decision point. You've got to really just bite down on your mouthpiece here and just swing for the fences, because everyone can always do a last round, right? So in this workout, I think round 4 is that target of, hey, if I can get through this one, with confidence, then I'll always be able to do a last one, and that generally happens for most people. I am wanting to avoid as much as possible any no reps. It's going to be compounding for a deadlift, no rep. I mean, if you're on the male side, you do 2 no reps, it's 320 extra kilos added that you don't want. For the handstand walk, if I fail a rep, that could actually be costly for a place on the leaderboard. Just due to the time it would take to get that increment back. I have to walk back, I have to gather myself, I have to get the confidence again, I have to wait to make sure that I do have that rep again, even because I just missed it, and then I need to do the time that it takes to do it. So, and if I missed it in the 2nd to 3rd section, then shivers, I might end up having to break at the next one because I need to put more security into that, not having just gone all the way through. So the handstand walk no reps are critical. Limiting factors in this workout, just your posterior chain, your ability to hinge, your ability to show up from day one, your CNS fatigue, breathing control, your positioning on the shoulder, stability, stacking for the handstand walk. I don't think that the run is the most important thing of this workout. I don't think that's going to be necessarily where we see it won or lost. I think that it's more important to have a balanced run, strong deadlift, stronger handstand walk, and that for me would be the atypical probably archetype to win this workout, or who's most suited to the workout as well. My mental cues for this: run tall, run smooth, trying to stay upright and try not to just be lazy, because I want to save my lower back, I want to save my legs for the deadlifts. No wasted pulls, like we just talked about. I want to make every single one of my deadlifts accurately, and then just balance, breathe, move with the handstand walk. And just thinking about my patterns, grab the ground, extend my elbow, lock, secure, pull the ground. Not trying to do anything too crazy. I'm more so looking for successful handstand walking than fast handstand walking, and staying composed in that manner. I'm going to read the first 2 rounds. That's all my data points, and that gives me enough to then secure some knowledge for the remainder of the workout. Recovery after this, you need to get in the recovery phase immediately, because this is going to be one of those central nervous system fatiguing workouts that needs to be replenished. I think that there's about, what did we say, 300 meters, 60 seconds for the first one. I don't think we're seeing 5 minutes run, 1 minute per round for 300 meters. It's 5 minutes for 1500. I don't think we're going to see that at all. 6.5 minutes on the run total time, maybe 7. Think of a 1 mile run, but then just bring some fatigue into the fact. So maybe 6:30 for total distance on that 1500, and 60 deadlifts. Like round to round, I don't think that the pace of the deadlifts will see change so much, more so than the timing to pick the barbells up. So let me just average that out at 35 seconds a round. 2.5, 250, you're at 8.5 minutes, 850 rather, nearly 9 minutes, and then 150 meters of handstand walking. We're doing 30 every minute for the first 2 rounds, and then we're doing minute 5s, minute 10s for 30 meters. Thereafter, the slower end of the spectrum around that 90-second marker, 10 meters per 30, and just shaking, waiting to go more than walking itself. So, what do we think there? Yeah, I think about 12, 13 minutes. Maybe 13's a bit much. Yeah, what do we reckon? It's a hard one. I don't like. I want to get it in the vicinity. I want to put enough thought to it without putting enough thought to it. But I want to be as accurate as we can do. So, yeah, stab in the dark here. We're going to go with top times about 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes, and then after that 12, 13 minutes, majority of the pack, and then a couple of them getting outside of that 14-minute marker, whether that's the handstand walk fatigue or just the deadlifts breaking them down. So yeah, that's it for the event 4. Let's see how it pans out.